Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. I hope you guys are keeping safe. Guys, let's smash the like button on this video. Let's get that like button pumping. Let's get those likes smashed on this video. But guys, I wanna make a video about this because I think it's very interesting. I think it's a topic which people are frustrated about, especially here in the UK. I think people are frustrated, upset. People are tired, bored. Kell Brook, Amir Khan. These are two guys that people wanted to see fight for over probably. We go back from 2018 to probably 2010. The UK public has want to see this fight. At one point, not just the UK public, this fight became so big that even the Americans were interested. Unfortunately, forget the Americans now. Even the British fans aren't interested anymore. And it's a sad shame because I think both of these may be still living in 2015, or especially Kell Brook from his recent comments. Kell Brook saying that it's still the biggest fight in British boxing, which, to be honest, British boxing hasn't got many big fights. To be honest with you, like you think about the obvious one is Joshua Fury, which is the biggest, of course. But you know, Dillian White, Tyson Fury is fairly big. There's probably others out there. Then when we come down to the smaller weight classes, we've got Liam Williams with Eubanks, and we've got Eubanks Saunders. But it almost seems sad to say that those fights are bigger because of what this fight could have been. For me, people say Froch Groves was a massive British fight. This was far bigger than Froch Groves because when Groves fought Froch, for me, it was Froch was at the end of his career, but I don't think either Froch or Groves were firstly household names like Khan. I think Khan was a household name. I think he's more globally recognized than both Froch and Groves. And in the UK, he's more well known than Froch. A guy having lived here all my life, I know that Amir Khan, especially around his peak years, wasn't just one of the biggest boxing names in the UK. He was one of the biggest sporting stars in the UK. He was like, if you go anywhere in England, everybody knows who Amir Khan is, and probably the whole of UK, not just England. People know who Amir Khan is. He's a very well known, figure. And over the years, he's become more famous. Some of his appearances on television, some of the stuff that he's done controversially outside the ring, he's become even more famous. And I believe that fight, the British public, the British hardcore boxing fans would have been crazy about that fight, and it would have also had a massive casual appeal. I think that fight would have done well over 1 million pay-per-view buys. I think it would have sold out more than 80,000 at Wembley. I think the fight was that big. I think it could have sold out 100,000. That's how big it was at one point one point in time. Especially when Kell Brook beat Sean Porter and became a welterweight world champion. I think the fight then could have probably blown the socks off. I think it could have done 100,000, over 1 million pay-per-view buys. And unfortunately, both guys know the fight's not as big as it once was, but I think they have an overestimated opinion of what they think the fight is. I still think the fight's big. I still think the fight can do a small stadium. Like, I still think it could do 30,000. I definitely think, if it was to happen in Bolton or somewhere, I think people would come out. Especially the fact that Amir Khan's not had a bigger stadium fight here in the UK ever. So I personally think that a fight with Kell Brook would definitely get people out. I think if it's promoted right, I definitely think it would sell some tickets. I definitely think it would be more than a competitive boxing match. I think people would view it as an event. And I think that's why I think it could be big, because it can be seen as an event more than a boxing, a championship boxing fight, which at this point in their careers, neither of them are world level fighters, or they've not shown anything of late to suggest they are. Brook in his last fight against Terence Crawford looked terrible, to be honest. Terrible in the sense that he looked okay first couple of rounds, but then as soon as Crawford landed a hook jab on his eye socket, he kind of fell to pieces. So, and Amir Khan looked not great against Vargas, and then against Crawford he didn't look too good, and then he fought Billy Dib, and then after that he hasn't fought. So I don't even know what Amir Khan's got left. And as a Khan fan, I don't know. I would love to see him beat Kell Brook, but I just don't know what he's got left. That's why when people are calling his name out with Ben and all of that stuff, I just don't know what Amir Khan's got left. I don't know what he'd look like in a ring anymore. I don't, because it's been so long. And even his last fight against Billy Dib, where he won, he didn't look the old self. He doesn't have that what he was back in. And here's the thing. Because I watched Amir Khan's prime years, I know how good he was in his prime. Well, I know how fast he was, how fast his movement was, and I always look back at some of his old fights that he had, and it just mesmerizes me how quick he was and how fast he was. When you see somebody now and you look at them and they look a shadow of themselves, it's almost sad to watch. It's a bit like David Haye, where it's almost like a sad to watch because they look so much of a shadow of their former self. It's like, oh, this guy ain't the same guy. This guy's a different guy completely. And Kell Brook, we know, has suffered some really bad injuries. He's been more active in the sense he fought Crawford recently, in November last year. But it's fair to say that Kell Brook is way, way past his best as well. So I honestly don't know what to expect from that fight. Hence why I still think it could sell. I still think it would be an intriguing fight, just because I just don't know what to expect from either guy. I don't know what's left. Is Kell Brooks going to get hit once and he's going to get blown away? Is Amir Khan going to get hit? Is his speed not going to be there? Is he going to be... I just don't know. I just don't know at this point. And at this point, Kell Brook has also said, if I don't get the Khan fight, I'm going to retire. I think is probably the right move, because Kell Brook isn't going to fight at championship level anymore. His days are done, and I think Amir Khan isn't going to fight at championship level anymore. I think the winner, the winner of the fight, if he wants to continue, I think Kell Brook has no desire to fight on. I think even if he beats Amir Khan, I think he'll retire. I think if he loses, he's not going to fight. I think if Amir Khan wins, on the other hand, he could be lured into some kind of fight. Maybe a Conor Benn fight, maybe even a Taylor fight if Taylor moves up. Maybe that could be Taylor's first fight at welterweight, just to welcome him in the division. We don't know. I definitely think Khan has more hunger than Brook to fight, because when he's spoken about it, he's definitely shown a lot more hunger that he wants to fight. And when he's asked about retiring, whereas Brook said, to be honest with you, if it's not the Khan fight, I'm done. I'm not really interested in fighting. So what that tells me is this is a guy with that's half retired. He's only gonna come out of retirement if it's one fight. I know he hasn't officially retired, but he's officially retired. Like, if it's not gonna get that fight, he's not gonna fight. So it's sad, because this fight should have been a huge fight back in the day. Unfortunately, it's a fight that's fallen through the net, unfortunately, and it's not happened when we wanted it to happen, and when it would have been a relevant fight on world level, when both were world level and world ranked and world champions. Should have happened then. I don't think either of them were world champions at the same time, but the fact is, it would have been a massive fight. Around 2015 would have been, without question, the biggest fight in British boxing at that point. It would have been one of the biggest fights in British boxing history. It may have even been top 5 biggest fights of all time in British boxing history. So it would have been massive. Unfortunately, the fight fell through. The fight didn't happen. And we're now at this stage where, the British public, or from what I've seen online, a lot of people don't want it. A lot of people are not interested, which is sad for a fight of that magnitude, for people to be brushing it off the way they are. It's sad, because I think the magnitude of that fight at one point, it would have been, like I said, it would have been something else. It would have been something else. And I don't think, look, Froch and Groves are friends now, right? They're okay now. They get on. These two had bitterness with each other for over a decade, and they're not going to be friends. They're not going to be guys that are doing tours together like Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn. This is probably the most bitter rivalry in British boxing history. And what I mean by that is that these two don't like each other, and it's real. It's real. It's not fake. It's real. They're not going to be going out once their careers are finished. They're going to be doing, going to dinners together or doing that, like I said, what Eubank and Ben are doing, or what Froch and Groves did. They're not going to be doing that. These two aren't going to be doing that because they don't like each other. They struggle to see the sight of each other. They don't get on. So it would have been real rivalry. A lot of the time with boxing, there's rivalry, but then there's respect after. Like with Plant and Canelo, there was rivalry, but then there was respect after. I don't know whether there'll be respect. I think there'll be respect after the fight. They'll shake hands. I don't think either guy's like that, so to speak. But I think they'll never be friends, or they'll never hang out, or they'll never go to dinners, and like it'll never be that kind of relationship. Whereas you see fighters even that had bitter rivalry, like Froch and Groves, they're doing public appearances together and stuff. Same with Eubank and Ben. These two who genuinely, are not friends. They don't like each other. So it would have been great back in the day. I do think it's probably past it, but obviously, as a huge Khan fan back in the day, I'll be interested in the fight. Obviously, a guy that's had a keen interest in Brook's career as well, I'll definitely be interested in the fight without question. But it's not the fight it once was, unfortunately, and it's sad that a fight like this has fell through. And some people may not want it to happen now, just so then it leaves that suspense, By it happening, one of them is going to obviously lose. And you're going to think, is it going to give this true reflection on who would have won the fight in their prime? No. So, yeah. It is what it is. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about it. What do you think about this Kell Brook situation? Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.